Okay, welcome back to the last part of this today's seminar. We will have Kris Verdonck on the stage with us to tell us a bit about his project. And he's the local artist from one of the two local artists in our BrIAS program. And yeah, he has founded his own company, a Two Dogs company is called. And there's been many projects, installations, performances, where he tried to, I guess, put in all his brain and all his verse about visual arts, theater, and also architecture. And he will talk today a bit about the interaction relation of humans and machines, which in that context will fit nicely into the program. So welcome, Kris Verdonck. Give it up. Thank you.
So yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you for the introduction. Yeah. I will go artist stuff for the moment. So the first thing is, so I did first my architecture, but I forgot about it, and then theater. A theater space, first of all, is a very strange space. You must really imagine that there's not for nothing that in Japanese theater they call it the mechanics of dreams. It's where you produce, it's a mechanical environment. Everything is artificial. So even if we have to put light, it's artificial light. Even if it's blue light, it is, even if it's blue light, even if it's blue light, it is thought about me. There's nothing spontaneous. If an actor wants to say something or a dancer has to say something, it is rehearsed and they want something for the audience. So it's really, and it's on top of that, it's a very mechanical environment. It's a kind of, all the Baroque mechanics are there to make illusions. It's even further, if I want to communicate that there's spontaneous light, I have to put the light on stage so an audience can see that, aha, this must be spontaneous light. So it is really a mechanical environment. On top of that, it's a very, one argue that it would be the environment of human beings. We are on stage and an audience watches them. So it's really a human, if you compare them with film, that's even more mechanic, but still the real performers are there. Also, you get into darkness and all your senses are just all your mirror neurons, empathy is asked, so you have really a lot of time to see the human beings and analyze them. That's what we love to do, audience in the dark, in the idea of we see the danger, but we are not in danger. So the classic idea, the couple has a fight and you could see at ease in all security, you could see what is going on stage. So that's the theater part, and the idea of a living thing. Every night is different. That's also the idea, of course. The other way around, then I did visual arts. The visual arts is a complete different thing. White space, now black space, and an object has to represent itself. An object, you go to a museum, you can, in comparison with theater, you can define your own time. You can look at the object as long as you like, and you analyze the object. That's the way you interact with it. And a normal object, that's all it has to do is be, and it represents what it is, nothing more. If we talk about multimedia, for example, this computer probably is having now talks and communication with Apple, so that it has another policy, it has a second degree of working that I don't know what it's actually communicating to the rest of the world. So when I was in school, I will show you first of all my first works, so they are a bit crappy, etc., but I think they hit the basics. The rest of the time I only repeated what they actually contain. So once I was in school, and then my teacher said every night is unique, every time it's different. So I bought 3 tickets for 3 evenings to see what the differences were, of course. And every night was exactly the same jokes, the same spontaneous remarks, the same kind of everything the same. So I was very disappointed. If we would that was one. And I would also love to mention also that in the history of theater, a very strange thing appears is even from Greek to Japanese to especially then a highlight was the Baroque period, Italy. Ghosts and objects were absolutely very, very important. The living object, in that sense, the Pepper's ghost was invented there. So strangely enough, although it is our place, we need objects to tell the story, which is quite crazy. So, for example, Louis XIV, he invented ballet, and it was a mechanical device that would take the women and put them somewhere all over the place. That would be the dance. That failed, and so they invented male dancers. And they would have none other thing to do than carry the women to the other side, what the machine should have done. There were no things written for male ballet dancers. On top, at one point I found a little old picture what was saying a classical ballerina with a tutu stuff, and underneath it was the marionette, which was almost shocking because how can you more objectify human beings than even calling them dolls? So at that period, I thought we have to do. I really want to do something that is unique every night, and also my little obsession by machines. So what I did at that point was, and we'll skip the first little thingy. So what I did was a classic setup. And I connected a grinder, the thing to cut bricks with an iron L, and I just plugged it in and saw and checked what happened, more or less. Do you have sound? Stay still. So yeah, what a strange experience for me, because people were clapping, laughing, and having an emotional connection with the damn thing that burns down, which is incomprehensible that we feel and we have even pity with a stupid grinder with an L on. It's even reactions of people who said that I must have really be a sadomasochist that really likes to kill animals, etc., etc. I love trashing stuff, and it was just no, I'm not. So what is it? So what means is that really it has the same effect, not the same, but even further. If you look if you watch movies, if R2D2 dies, we're all sad, which is absolutely, you buy a new one and there you have it. Of course, it's humanized, etc. These ones I don't even have to humanize. I put it on stage, and it becomes a dramatic action without anything happening. People project on it and have feelings about it. So that was where the machine, actually, the machine takes the complete space and does the real performance. Every night completely different. It burns every night differently. I couldn't control it. Sometimes it got a short circuit in 10 minutes or the next second, and it was also finished, and I failed, and not everybody was happy with that. So the next question was, so how can I, if I put machines on stage, how can I put human beings in a museum context? Really completely switching places, and I could not kill actors because they're protected kind. There are too many of them, we know it all, but so yeah. So here, a sensory deprivation tank, 2 meters on 120 on 120. The water is 30 degrees exactly, and the performer stays in. Here he is. Heartbeat and respiration are in real time. The actor, because of the environment, I saw it always as a complete exoskeleton where actually the object pushes the human being inside of where it takes complete over the condition of this human being. So the performer gets into a trance, doesn't hear, doesn't feel, doesn't see anymore, completely relaxed. It's even fun to do. So yeah. So from now on, from that moment, I always tried to switch from the other way, the performances, machines, and the human beings objectifying and seeing what is going on. So I would go for another one, so a little, this one, for example, on performance, on the idea of performance as an engine that performs. So here we have, for example, do you have some sound? Yes. A V6 engine. Don't crash here. And that's the crash. No, machines don't like to perform. Yeah. So can we change? So I had a V6 engine, Alfa Romeo. It had to be an Alfa Romeo for one of my technicians, and I put it the machine. Am I back? Am I back? Put it as loud as possible. It goes from 0 to I don't know how many tours per minute, but it really performed with a. I'm just gonna pluck it out, the whole damn thing. Am I? Yes. Tack, tack. This is not good, but we'll see if they survive. Ouch. This one there. This one here. This one there. Thank you. Allow. And not this, but yes, that. Ooh, it's not really what I was looking for, but this I was. And why does he not read? I can't open my file.
It's in here? There is
two. I will do it for this one. Will work.
Will it work?
Yeah, it will work. Let's try with this one. So, here you have the V6 engine, remote control, and I just showed it as an object. Even there, people asked me at one point where the cables were and how did it work and did I needed electricity. Also, people said, which is very, very strange, somebody says you're polluting, and also this is not in my car. Completely no imagination anymore that this was part of their daily work. So another one. The thing is, here is, for example, this was a box 4 meters on 4 meters, 120 high more or less, filled with heavy smoke, and we could control by a lot of little ventilators the smoke. The thing is, as an artist, you always have there's a thing is that the main question in the whole history of art, the main question is what is the object, what's the material, what is the politics of that material, and trying to develop it even further instead of me wanting something from the object. It is much more a big question, what does the object want from me? In the sense that if you look, for example, to these little stupid little scooters we have in Brussels, so many of them super dangerous, the question we could pose is, why do people drive crazy with them? Well, the answer is very simple, because you can. The way of driving with a bicycle is something completely different, and you take much more less risks. It goes less fast. It goes less. So actually, the way of driving is completely already inside of that machine. I say probably different things because this microphone is pushing something for it. Asks something for me. This machine-like environment. Completely, it's always, for me, it's always the other way around. For me, the most interactive machine is probably the teddy bear. The teddy bear, it's of course all projection. There's nothing interactive to it because, well, yeah, it's just an object. But the intimate relationship and the projection of this doll is just amazing. It talks back. You tell your biggest secrets. Everything is present. And I think the projection of what we have, how the projection on the machine and its return, I think in that interaction, there's something I think very, very valuable on. Instead, for example, how the environment will change if you have a robotic. Such a robot in your hospital, everything will change. And it's for us to discover what it actually is. First of all, you have this object, and then it will start to propose things. That it has its own language. It starts to change the environment. It starts to change behavior, and often we cannot guess as makers what the machine really does. I am very sure that these little machine guys, the step guys, did not think about the amount of broken feet and heads. They just didn't think about it because it just unveils itself while doing that. And sometimes it's even years before a machine or an object really is showing its influence on society, on us. And that I think is so I really am convinced that we cannot underestimate the hidden politics of a machine, of a social economics behind it that slowly unveils itself. So this is heart. Can you put it loud? So actress, performer alone on stage. Heartbeat again in real time. Again, this is one of the first performances. So she is pulled backwards, 8 meters backwards, 4 meters high, smashes into a mattress, falls down on the next mattress on stage, goes back on stage, waits for the next 500 heartbeats, and it's the heart actually that is the motor of this hellish cycle she is in. She's doing it completely to herself in that sense. She doesn't know when the jump will come, because even counting doesn't really help. And as a spectator, it's all the machinery of the theater. It's actually producing this drama. It's actually fun to do. I've never wanted to hurt my performers. I only wanted to put them in a system, and as an audience you can watch it like scientists, how behavior inside a mechanical environment works. This was also one of the, at that point the mobile phone was just invented, yes I'm so old, and just the idea that until then you could walk on the street very freely without anybody could reach you. And suddenly everybody just had the power to grasp you from the street and connect to you with bad news, and there you go. Another thing that I'm really interested about is that if one has, of course now thanks to Apple, we all bring our mobile phones into our beds, and if one has a intimate problem, the craziness is that your little problem, the asked thing, you don't dare to say it to your partner, which is actually a real intimate person. You don't say it. You first Google it. So sometimes you yell it to the world, not really, but almost, say that you have this little problem, and then days later you maybe say it to your partner, which is absolutely crazy. But just in, it's again the feeling of intimacy that this object produces. Thank you, Steve Jobs. We must also imagine that Steve Jobs invented this kind of interaction with this machine after he went to Disneyland, working in Disney World, and there he invented the kind of idea of make the film of your own life. Not any, he started with all this creative stuff that actually made this thing so big. So this is, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a dance performance, solo, duet, trio, quartet, and this is actually the dream of Leopold. From Louis XIV. So we have the dancers on strings, and here now they're hovering. What I did in this performance was, so there was a whole mechanics to lift them up. The 4, it was almost 50% more or less random. So the dancers could not really control all the machines, and so they had to learn to dance with the machine. So the whole rehearsals were just these dancers searching all possibilities and having a connection with them. And at one point, this one of the dancers was upside down. Did a movement, and it was really nice, blah, 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 blah. Everybody was happy with it. Another dancer tried it, and then this first dancer, the other one tried it, couldn't do it. The first dancer, they were in discussion, and at one point this first dancer didn't know anymore how to explain how she did this movement, this particular movement together with the machine, that she said, well, just listen to the bloody machine, which I thought was extremely interesting. If we talk about robotics, if we talk about extensions, exoskeletons, and so forth, etc., etc., it's actually these machines have their own policy in them. They push a way of thinking, they push a way of moving, and I think on a long term, this is actually the thing that will be produced by this machine. So, for example, here. This movement is still produced by the apparatus, and then this one still also, and that's why they're so beautifully parallel. but now they start to control, and we go slowly berserk, of course. Things will go wrong. They do everything to be parallel, but of course that doesn't work anymore. It's just humanly impossible. For me, one of the I saw at one point at Bolshoi Theater, I could see these amazing ballet dancers doing the swan leg. But it was a rehearsal, and all these super athletes had still their normal trainers on, while suddenly they were human beings. Suddenly they were real beautiful human beings, which was completely strange in that environment. So these kind of performances, then on the object level, I have to search a little bit now. I'm looking for bogus. Where is it? Yeah, bogus one. Here we have, this is without sound. So we have four boxes. Yeah, no sound. There are inflatables coming out. Here they are. And they go up until 8 meters, and then they crawl back into their cases. I don't know what that sound is, but yes. So here they, like dressed characters, they go back down in their cases, collapse and go back up. Yeah, and it goes on. Here we have a little dancer number 3. Yep. So this one is, for example, yeah, can we have sounds? This one was a little jumping robot. It was for 60% in random. And when it fell, there was another machine that put it back on stage, or put it back straight. And then it started to jump around. It was max MSP time. Yeah, there we have it. Again here, it is cute, due to the sounds for sure. I never know when it falls, when it's straight. Again, people are so connected to it. And again here, it is 80%, I guess, projection, and the machine itself does actually nearly something. It's sometimes amazing how this empathy, how these mirror neurons work. I will show you here. I hope to how powerful these. Do not underestimate how strong the influence of somebody like me can have. This was a performance where I thought, I'm really going to push now. Can I put the audience to sleep? Can I really do it? Do I have such an amount of power on them? Yes, I can. This I really don't know. So anyway, Alix is dancing. So first we had people had to have these pillows, because first I wanted to do it without pillows, of course, but then people were so angry at me because they slept so, they were all like aeroplane things, and so I didn't really want that. So then I thought, like, okay, give them pillows, it will work. I talked with a hypnotist on what's the strong, why does hypnosis work? It was a hypnotist that was also a doctor, so he did this hypnosis where people are had operations under hypnosis, and it works. There's not so much doubt. So he learned me how words, how dramatic lines underneath so-called innocent texts work so far that you can operate somebody and that person hasn't got pain anymore. So strong words, they are happening. No. So believe me, I wanted to show you. I'll just wait for a moment until maybe it does something still. So more or less 80% of the audience was really just off to sleep, even with the back to the stage. What we did was all elements of this performance, light, sound, movement, text, even the little video, all was part of one session of an hypnosis show. So I can't do anything. I will do this then. Up. Will that work? This is very strange. It's somewhere in, but I don't know where. I will just do this. Up for a moment. Yeah, I know. Even your computer is dead.
Maybe you killed it.
Yeah, most of the time I do these things with the objects. Probably yes.
Do you need a Mac?
But I can get mine back. Let me see if I can do anything. Is this something? Yeah, I can just show you sleeping people. That's not very interesting, but what time is it? Where are we? Yes. So this is also one of the I could go on and on and on. I've got so many variations on how objects influence human beings and what the policy is, what the politics are of machines. And that's also one of the things I with all due respect for all what you guys all invent, but for me, these to try to, what I miss is the exercise of knowledge on what the politics are of the inventions, and that's my call more or less for the BrIAS. If I have anything to add, is to really try to watch your machines and try to observe them and try to understand what they really mean. If we take Van Gogh, for example, everybody said he was completely mad because he tasted his, or he ate his paint. Well, it was not really because he was mad. He wanted to understand what paint is. For example, the David, Michelangelo, the David is a bit turned, and that was because he found while sculpting there was a little crack inside of the stone, and so he had to sculpt around it. And so it's actually the stone itself that said much more about how the David, not really, but it defined so much more, and not to be underestimated, what the influence on the stone of him was, more than the other way around. And I think all the objects that we are surrounded with have a kind of politics inside, and I think it's worthwhile to try to be aware of, pay attention, as they call it, about what we are inventing. Thank you.
So thank you very much, and there are questions?
Yeah, I'm just curious to see. You talked about percentage of randomness in your works. Do you decide this, or you object machine decide the level of randomness?
Yeah, for the dancer, for example, the guy who was programming it, at one point I call it even egoless watching. So I really asked to all the technicians to try to observe what the machine wants. And this little robot had a kind of rhythm that the robot really liked to do. Then it was imbalanced, then it was half imbalanced, then it was the most interesting. So we tried to push the object towards this kind of performances, this kind of jumps, because it liked it. And we don't even humanize it. There's no. It's pure technical. If I have no emotional connection with my machines whatsoever, they can burn down. I don't care. As long as I have the money to buy a new one, it's good for me. So we really try to understand the thing that sleeps inside of the machine, what the politics are. So if it's 60, and then of course I will try to get 50% life. The more I also notice, the more I'm close to the object, to what it wants from me, the more it gets layered, the more interesting it gets, the more all the materials start to be alive, if you like. It's not so important. I hope always, and I'm getting there sometimes not, that I am not necessary anymore in the project, that we just have to follow the materials and the policy that is inside of the object already from day one, actually.
Okay, other questions?
Thank you for the presentation. This might be a difficult question for you to answer, but when we think about this relationship between humans and machines, and I think you're trying to share with us clearly that sometimes the machines shape our behavior. How do we decide when we think it's, I want to say, okay that the machine is shaping our behavior, or when do we back off on a machine because it's shaping our behavior?
Yeah. Sir Martin Rees, Royal Astronomer, good friend of Stephen Hawking, this kind of level, he wanted to organize, as a joke, a group of people that could decide if a invention could continue, yes or no. If it was worthwhile, if somebody said, like, I want to create an atomic bomb, shall we or shall we not? And of course, you feel immediately that it is impossible to stop things. We are a curious specimen that are relentless in our curiosity, and so what we will invent, what we can invent, we will invent. You see it now in AI, also artificial intelligence. You can see the we don't really care what the policy is not even talked about. It's not enough talked about for me. What it means, what the influence is. Now you can feel people are being a bit suspicious about it, etc., etc. But people can be as suspicious as they like. There's a rat race, a real race between nations. China, United States, blah, blah, blah. Everybody is just going for it, and there's nearly room to think about consequences. Actually, this is one of the things that I see happening almost every day in my life, that there is no real morality, or there's no real stop, or it's not even the question if we can continue, yes or no. We will if we can. And this is something, if we technologically can do something, we will do it, because we are so curious what it will do. The consequences of the for now, for example, the hype around the electric motor, electric engine, or the electric car. Yes, of course, we try to take the batteries back, etc., etc. But a bigger or a larger scale, I think, it's I just read a couple of days ago that it's the biggest invention on that scale that will completely change everything. But this is the first time that it happens on that scale, on a global scale. A new invention is on mass produced. Everybody likes it. Everybody wants it. I'm working now, to give you an example, I'm working now on to blow up an engine, another one. And I can't find mechanics anymore because in schools they don't teach anymore the old mechanics. Everybody wants to go electric. That's the thing. That's where we're going for. You cannot stop it. So there's for me, there's a kind of this energy to invent things is nearly stoppable. So there's even not a discussion on for me there's not even a discussion on shall we or shall we not. We will, because we can. Will we replace human beings? Well, as much as we can, of course. It's very cute that I sometimes hear this kind of shall we, yes or no? Pff, of course you will. Oh, you don't even have to bother me with that kind of. It's cute that you guys do it. If I replace my actors, it just also works. Huh? So yeah.
Other questions? No? Okay. Thank you very much again
Thank you.
for this nice talk. And I leave the word to Michel for the final remark.
Yeah, I don't have any further remarks. Thank you very much for your presentation, Kris. Thanks a lot. And thanks the audience here and in the World Wide Web for joining us today. And I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.